hi everyone. My name is Rob Sherman. I'm with CCSI, and I want to welcome everybody to the Hybrid Cloud Strategy to Optimize Your Data Infrastructure. Just a little background on CCSI. CCSI is an MSSP. We've been in business for over 40 years, located in the New York area. Our main focus is infrastructure, cloud transformation, cybersecurity, and third-party maintenance. We have practices in all of those, and we deal with a lot of big infrastructures within the New York region as well as the rest of the U.S. What we do is we like to go out and look at different technologies and see what's out there within the security infrastructure and the storage infrastructure, and what we could bring to the table and introduce to prospective customers and customers we already have. And what we came across is Western Digital and what they're doing with the hybrid cloud and what they're doing with NVMe. So I would like to flip this over to Ben Torres, and Ben will lead us through what Western Digital has to offer going forward.
All right. Thank you, Rob. First of all, I want to just thank everybody quickly for joining today, taking the time to learn a little bit about Western Digital. Like Rob mentioned, my name is Ben Torres. I'm a technologist within the enterprise sales engineering team within Western Digital. For the folks that are on the call, you may have heard or may not know about Western Digital, but at a very high level. Western Digital is a $20 billion company. We're considered the #1 storage provider in the world. We've done this through our innovation and acquisitions and investments in new technologies. Primarily, we're known for either one or two things. On the consumer side, we're known for a lot of the, personal home products, and also just the personal hardware components like USB drives, external drives. And then on the other side of it, we're known for being the #1 supplier of all storage components to all the major storage providers and all the major cloud providers that are out there. But for today's discussion, we're going to talk about something a little bit different within Western Digital. So today, we're going to give a quick overview on a new business unit known as the Data Center Systems Group, which I'm part of. And then we're going to talk about some of the new technologies that we're introducing, like NVMe and then object-based storage. So to kind of kick things off, we're going to kind of take a step back and just really kind of take a look at everything that we do from, a day in and day out basis. Now, if we look at the world that we live in today, it's a very data-centric world. You think about everything that we produce data-wise. You may know you're producing it or you may not know it. For myself, I can look at my watch and know that every time I breathe, every time I walk, my watch is tracking, how many steps I'm taking, my heart rate. I think about the car that I drive and all the different sensors that are within that car, and it monitors all the different components within the car and also monitors how I'm driving. And it can take that information and then provide insight, even to the way that I interact socially on my phone and the data that I'm producing. Now, for a lot of clients and a lot of organizations, when you take that conversation and then focus it more within the data center, as a #1 storage provider, Western Digital is noticing that there's the way that data is handled and the way that the interaction, it's changing. If you kind of look historically on how data was leveraged, how it was utilized, it was more of a siloed approach. Typically we would set up environments based on a business requirement, business need. We'll design the environment, and then the data that's produced is typically siloed just specific to that environment. But you kind of fast forward that to today and look at the companies that are really putting data as the center of their practice, the center of their business. There are a lot of applications that are interacting with one another, where traditionally these applications will just create the data and keep it within their silo. But we're starting to see applications that are more integrated. We're starting to see needs where, the data that's being produced, there's a collaboration between different teams. And if you think of all the major companies that are putting data as the center of their business, they have the opportunity now to really transform how they do business, how they can service their clients. And think of, let's say, Amazon. When we go onto Amazon and we search for different products, we're providing them with a map of what we like. so they can, provide better services. They can introduce us to new products that maybe we're not aware of, just based on how we search and what we look for. You think of Netflix. I had a very interesting conversation with one of my clients that is affiliated with Netflix, and the way that they run their business. They do a lot of investments into data, where they look at trends, they look at, the hottest topics, what people are interested in, and then based on that information, that's how they go about, looking for the right screenplay to offer it to their audience. Think of any retail store. There are a lot of times that we may not notice, but there's different sensors, different ways that they can track the movement on how we shop, what we look for. They could take that information and then make better informed decisions on what products to sell. And then they could take that same data and then use that to their vendors and then offer, different spots within their stores at a premium. So with these, more data-centric type environments, we're starting to see new demands within, data infrastructure. We're starting to see organizations that are looking for, the ability to scale, not within the terabytes, but more into the petabytes. So solutions that can scale at a high level. And with that scalability, organizations are looking for solutions that are very flexible, that give them the agility to, really adapt on the fly. So when things change in the environment, they have the agility, the flexibility to make these changes, but also make these changes and make it very efficient, where if they need to implement changes, they're not over-provisioning resources that may not need, some additional resources and can adapt and be able to do things, individually. And then more importantly, be able to scale, change, but still maintain that high performance. Whereas you look at the new technologies that are out there, they're getting faster, they're getting better. So within Western Digital, we're taking these four main drivers and we're changing the way that we do things and the way that we handle things, and more specifically to the data center. So our main vision is really a combination of these four pillars. We're looking to introduce technologies that are completely open, so really allowing our end users to decide which manufacturers, which vendors they would like to utilize, but also have all these different vendors work under one management console, under one set of APIs. We're also looking to provide solutions that can scale, again, at a high level, not just terabytes, but into the petabytes. We're also looking to provide solutions that allow you to quickly adapt, but also be independent, where if you look at a lot of technologies that are available today, they can give you, that one solution where it can combine compute, networking, storage all in one. But as you start scaling, you start noticing that you start over-provisioning resources that are not needed. So we want to provide a solution where, again, you can independently scale, regardless if it's just storage, whether it's compute, whether it's networking, give you a combustible infrastructure. And when resources are no longer needed, also be able to break down those resources and then repurpose it to other applications. And then also be able to extend our technology. So as new technologies are introduced, you can quickly implement those new technologies without having to reconfigure your infrastructure. So today, what we've designed as a storage platform, we have a new business unit, which I'm part of, which is known as a Data Center Systems Group. These are solutions that are primarily focusing on just the data center, not consumers, not components. It's the fastest business unit within Western Digital. And one of the unique values that we're going to provide with our platforms and our system is we're considered as the only vertically integrated storage company in the world. So if you're familiar with vertical integration, think of a company like Apple, where Apple owns everything from beginning to end. They own the hardware, they own the software, they own the intelligence. And what they can provide is a solution that can service better their customers. They can provide a better integrated solution, a better performing solution, and that's what we can provide. We own the materials, that make the hard drives, the SSD. We own the manufacturing plants where these drives are produced. We own the intelligence. We own the devices, and now we own the systems. So now we offer systems that are better integrated, have better cutting-edge technology, but more importantly for our end users, we have a solution that is very superior but very cost-effective. If you look at a lot of the costs for a lot of these storage platforms that are out there today, the majority is the storage component, where they have to purchase the storage, they have to engineer it for their platform, and that's all at a cost. But being Western Digital, we have the collaboration between the different teams where we can better integrate, offer better products, and more importantly, we cut out a lot of the middleman and offer a solution that's more cost-effective. Now, if you look at our platforms today and what we can provide, there's a lot of different storage platforms and solutions that we offer. So today, it's in 4 different categories, starting from left to right. We start off with our platforms where you see a lot of our, enterprise-grade hard drives, our enterprise-grade SSDs, our NVMe SSDs. It's also where we provide a lot of our JBODs and JBUF, just a bunch of disks or just a bunch of flash rackable systems, which are ideal for organizations that are typically creating and customizing, custom builds or using some type of software-defined platform. It's an ideal solution. Our newer technology, which we just recently introduced, and we're looking to become the standard, is our OpenFlex technology, which is our combustible infrastructure. So this is where we're going to introduce one standard set of APIs that all various vendors, whether it's on the compute side, the networking side, are going to be able to leverage one set of APIs, be able to manage everything under one UI, and then allow our end users, various organizations to really provide a solution where they can scale independently at a high level. So if you just need to expand the storage, you have that flexibility but still maintain a hyper-converged infrastructure, and really allow them to create and really allow them to use these resources more efficiently. On the cloud side, we have our ActiveScale object-based storage platform, which I'm going to go into in a few slides and kind of explain what we can provide there. And then our tiered 1 storage, which is our primary storage platform, which we call IntelliFlash. That's our unified storage platform that can natively support block and file at the same time. It also provides a lot of the advanced data services that, most organizations look for today, like, thin provisioning, snapshotting, cloning, compression, dedupe, and all within one platform, and also have the flexibility where we can offer it as NVMe, all flash, and also hybrid. So let's kind of dive into NVMe. So if you're familiar with NVMe, or maybe you're not, we're going to kind of explain a little bit about why or what the purpose of NVMe is, and really why you should be concerned. And to kind of start off the discussion, let's think about just as an individual driving a car. Let's say you have a car that's very economical, it's great on gas, the performance is okay. You use that car every day to go to work, and from your house to the freeway to get to work, there's a single-lane highway where you can only drive 40 miles an hour. So this car is perfect, it's great on gas, but let's say you decide to go into more a high-performing sports car. It's a great car, it's faster, it's better performing, but you're still limited to that single-lane highway where you can only go 40 miles per hour. And that's typically where the limitation for the all-flash arrays that you see today, that's sort of the limitation that we ran into. And the main reason is it was leveraging a technology that was more designed for spinning drives, which was SAS or SATA. And the limitation was basically on the SATA side, you had one queue for both SATA and SAS, but the amount of commands that you can queue up on the SATA side was 32, and then on the SAS side was 256. So you're kind of limited with how much bandwidth was available. Now, if you kind of fast forward to NVMe, That is a brand new technology built from the ground up specifically to address and really utilize what SSDs were mainly used for, and really to unlock the capability. So NVMe stands for non-volatile memory express. Instead of the traditional SAS or SATA cable, you're connecting these NVMe SSD drives directly to the PCIe bus. So now with the NVMe protocol and being able to connect directly to the motherboard through the PCIe bus, you have a system that can produce a lot more IOPS, a lot better performance, and also give you better latency, where traditional all-flash SSD gave you that sustained sub-millisecond latency response time. Now we're into the microsecond. So with NVMe, you go from 1 queue up to 64,000 queues, and typically either that 32 commands or 254 up to 64,000 commands. So now you have a bus that can produce a lot more and really unlock the potential of what an NVMe SSD can produce. Now, within our data center systems group, we have different technologies and different solutions to support your NVMe initiative, if that's something that you're looking to implement and really bring into your house. So from the platform side, on the UltraStar, we have various technologies that you can leverage. So again, if you're an organization that's looking to, do a custom build or maybe leverage some type of software-defined solution, we have our NVMe drives that we can sell. We also have memory extension drives for various applications that are looking to, for better performance, lower latency. Also, one of our building blocks to our OpenFlex technology within the UltraStar is our NVMe storage server. So again, these are rackable storage devices that are strictly leveraging NVMe technology. And then for our tiered one, our IntelliFlash, we have our NVMe all-flash arrays. Now, if we kind of take a look into our IntelliFlash and the different systems that we can provide, again, the benefit with our IntelliFlash platform is that it leverages one technology, and within that one operating system, we can provide the same feature sets regardless of the type of media that we leverage on the back end, and you still are able to manage everything through the same UI. So if you're looking to implement a closed NVMe system, the IntelliFlash technology can provide 3 types of systems. So going, again, from left to right, we have our entry level, which provides great performance and, again, sustained latency, which is our N5100. We have our N5200, which is our mainstream performance. So if you're looking for, systems that are mission critical, you can leverage our N5200. And then for extreme performance, when you start getting to the big data or big analytics, we have our N5800 that we can provide. And if you guys are interested, we can, tell you a little bit further on the differences and go into each one independently. Now, if you take the capabilities of the NVMe devices and really incorporate the latest version or IntelliFlash, we've done a lot of engineering where our systems have gotten a lot faster. So if you combine the latest version, which is 3.10, and also NVMe, we have systems that can produce over 1 million IOPS. And again, response time into the microcenter instead of sub-millisecond. We also have systems that are a lot denser in a smaller form factor. So in a 2U, as you can see, we're now offering 368 raw SAS all-flash arrays. And then we also advanced some of our advanced data services. So now you have the capability of doing live data migrations. And then we also introduced some components into the cloud where if you're looking for a way to protect the system and get it outside of your environment, you can either use our S3 connectors to go into an S3 cloud provider like Amazon, or you can leverage our ActiveScale portfolio, which is our object-based storage S3 connector. So let's kind of transition into our ActiveScale solution, which is our object-based storage. If you're not familiar with object-based storage, and you're more familiar with traditional block and file, there's a lot of advantages to object-based storage solutions. One is the ability to really scale at a high level and be able to maintain a single namespace. So essentially having no file system limitation. Again, traditional block and file within Western Digital, we can scale at a very high level. But when you start talking about petabytes and petabytes of storage, this is where we see a perfect fit for object-based storage and still being able to maintain that single namespace. Also, the accessibility of an object-based storage where traditional block, you have to access the storage either through fiber channel or through some type of Ethernet protocol like iSCSI, and on the file-based side like NFS or CIFS. Now, with the object-based storage, you're using more S3 cloud connectors or cloud APIs. So essentially going over HTTP to manage and access the storage. And then also it's a very simple, easy to use solution regardless of how high you scale. Now within the Western Digital Data Center Systems Group, we essentially offer two solutions with the software layer that we add on top of it. So again, going left to right, we have the ActiveScale P100, which we consider more of our entry-level system. But even with our entry-level system, you can start off with up to 864 terabytes of raw storage, and you can easily scale up to 2.5 petabytes and even scale that single solution out to 23 petabytes raw. Now, for clients that are getting into more big data, or even universities where they're doing a lot of research and they're creating lots of data, the X100 is more of our integrated system, where in a full rack, we can provide up to 7 petabytes of raw storage in that single rack, and then scale that single system out into 65 or 63 petabytes of raw capacity. And one of my major clients, which is a financial client here in New York City that I manage, they're currently one of our biggest object-based storage clients and user, and they're managing close to 40 petabytes of usable storage, not raw, usable. So the X100 is a perfect solution, again, for those organizations that are into big data, that are generating large amounts of data that need to be analyzed. And then on the software side, we have our SM solution, which is our system management that allows you to manage these environments in real time. And then we also have our cloud management component that gives you more of a centralized view of all the ActiveScale deployments and all the ActiveScale systems. That gives you a centralized view, can also provide historical information, and then also some advanced analytics. Now, some of the benefits of leveraging an object-based storage, and more specific, the ActiveScale, we can give you high availability and high durability. So if you're looking to leverage like Amazon S3 or some of the other cloud providers, if you look at their durability and also availability, typically I think Amazon is more 5 nines of availability, and I believe their durability is maybe 7 nines. Where in the ActiveScale, we're providing 19 nines of durability. And we're doing this based on our erasure coding process. So if you're not familiar with erasure coding, it's just a method of where you can take a block of data, create or take that data and then break it up into different chunks. And then from those chunks also create parity chunks, and then spread that data within the system so it can give you a high durability where it can prevent from hardware failures. And then depending on how you implement the ActiveScale, we can also give you ways to deploy the solution to protect you and against the DR and also high availability. Now, another component to it is it's highly secure, and we can protect the data, where sometimes you hear that there's some security, flaws or some holes within these cloud providers. So any data that we provide and that's in flight is going to be encrypted, and we can also leverage our own technology and then provide data encryption at rest. But it also provides high efficiency and high optimization. We can provide high throughput. Now, some of the flexibility that we can offer when it comes to deployment, you can deploy it as a single site where you can create more a single type of cloud model. You can also implement it for DR purposes where you can have 2 systems and then replicate between site 1 and site 2. We also have a hybrid approach where you can still maintain a single private cloud locally, and then if you have an instance of AWS, you can replicate that data locally and then into the cloud. And then we also have our 3-geo deployment, which is ideal for clients that are looking for a high availability type of solution. So with the 3-geo, we can deploy 3 separate systems at different locations where they're all clustered together, provides you still a single namespace, and then it also provides high availability where you can lose up to 1 site and then still take advantage of the storage that is located at each site. So again, many different options that are available. And if you look at the overall cost, it's a very cost-effective solution. And if you guys are interested, we'll be more than happy to kind of do an ROI and show you the differences between implementing a private cloud using ActiveScale versus going out to the cloud. Now, some of the use cases that we find that a lot of organizations are leveraging, it kind of is a wide range. It can be anywhere from data protection. So a lot of tape backup solutions are now starting to implement some type of S3 connectivity. A lot of clients are looking to get away from tape, but also have a way to scale at a high level and still maintain the information when it's needed. So it's ideal. It's a ideal use case for ActiveScale. Again, for a lot of universities, a lot of financial companies where they're producing large amounts of data, and then from that data, they're running a lot of analytics. It's a perfect solution to store all that information that's being stored. If you're a media or entertainment company, being able to store your digital assets, it's a perfect solution, and we're starting to see a lot of civil organizations like NYPD, a lot of cops and police departments are starting to implement a lot of the body cams, and that body cams produce a lot of data. So this is an ideal solution as well. Now, one thing, if you look at our solution, just at a pure S3 object-based storage platform, we are the leader. And again, the most cost-effective. But you will find that there are other solutions that are out there that may offer some different features that we may not offer. That's fine for us. Now, one thing that we provide a lot of value is us as a company, as a solution, we're just a storage on the back end. But there are a lot of different applications, a lot of different vendors that can interact with our storage, that can leverage our storage and the back end. So a lot of times we may go into an opportunity, we may go into a discussion where we identify a specific use case, and that's typically what's driving them to have the conversation. It may be backup. Again, they're looking to get away from tape. But if they look, once they realize the capability and what we can offer and how you can leverage the storage, that kind of opens up the capabilities internally where they can start seeing other use cases. And again, if you look at our solution, hands down, just from a pure object-based storage, S3, we are the best, the most cost-effective, but we also offer and interact with a lot of independent solution vendors. Now, this is an example of some of the vendors that we interact, that we can work with. We have a large list that we can provide, over 90 different ISVs. So again, you may go in with a specific use case, but you can quickly identify and see that we can quickly, or you can quickly utilize the back-end storage for many different use cases. So with that, I hope this was helpful. I hope this provided a lot of good insight. I think now we're going to open it up for a Q&A. So I'm not sure if Rob or Jessica, if you're going to handle that.
Right now, we don't have any questions. Does anybody have any questions out there they'd like to? You can put it in the chat channel.
I guess I'm getting off easy today, Rob.
Yeah, I think you're getting off easy. I said we had a lot of people that joined today, and I guess a lot of people took notes, but nobody really has questions. So I guess, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if I know there's a lot of information that we provided today. If there's anyone on the call today that would like a further discussion, again, my name is Ben Torres. I'm local to the area. We have an office here in New York City. I'm based out of Long Island. Be more than happy to come on site and give you, further information and get down a little bit deeper into what we can provide within the Data Center Systems Group.
That's great, Ben. Really appreciate that. Once again, does anybody have any questions? If not, we are going to close this down. I want to thank everyone for joining, and we will get you an email out with some more information about the presentation today. Thank you very much for your time.